Ta-da.
All right. Welcome to episode seven. I think it's seven of the Domination Rankings of Everything. The show that creates a weekly top 25 of absolutely everything together. This is done with co-hosts zealously and earnestly advocating for the entry into the top 25 of some things which they have immense passion and knowledge. We have with us Jim Ruberti, a comedian from Cape Cod who lives with three stay at home adult children. How are you, Jim?
Hey, how are you, Dave? Thanks for having me.
No problem there, sir. All right. We also have comedian Dave.
Yeah, it's a tough
I'm going
pronunciation.
to go with Ragaton.
No,
Why do we have
seriously,
why
seriously.
do I have why right there it says
Yeah,
Ragaton?
but right here, if you look at your screen,
Yep.
you'll see it's spelled Rattigan. It's very popular. It's there was a playwright. There was
Dave,
the
I'm thinking your mispronunciation of last names could be on the list, to be honest
Yes.
with
Yes, it is.
you.
I mispronounce everything.
haven't you seen The Great Mouse Detective? Ah,
Oh, this is
Dave is a
great.
college professor and formerly an award-winning journalist. Dave, I'm just kidding. I know your stuff. What's up, Dave?
I gotta say this, aside from the birth of my daughter so far, this is the greatest moment of my life.
Very. All right. Then there's super duper intern Juliana See, I'm just a mess. Juliana Caravaggio, who followed her mother's footsteps all the way to where? Happy Valley. Yep. She's a Nittany lion. Juliana, quick question for you.
Yep.
What are we?
Oh, that's an easy one. We are Penn State.
Ah, very good there,
Uh,
Juliana. All right.
yeah.
Then there's me, Dave Barend, Grand Poobah College Basketball Times, which is where the domination rankings originated, but just for basketball, which we've expanded a bit to absolutely everything. Thus, the domination rankings of everything together. So here's how the show is organized. And note my optimism with the use of the word organized. We'll start with 3 rounds of debate as to which 3 new things should be added to the top 25. But that means 3 things got to come out. Make sense, Juliana?
Sure. I was not really paying attention.
Fantastic. Good to know there. That's
Totally kidding. Totally kidding.
I was going to say that proves she goes to Penn State.
all right. So after the debates, we'll then reveal the latest top 25 according to our many, many voters. And it's the last 3 things on the list that will be cut. So, Juliana, what do we have for round one of the debates?
All right, so for round one, we have Dave Barron as the judge, with Jim arguing for cremation and Dave Rattigan arguing for vent and duct cleaning. Take it away.
All right. So we take it away with who commences? Dave Rattigan commences.
Okay. Let
I
me just
believe. No, yeah, Dave commences. That is correct. I apologize.
Okay. First of all, I agree with what I think Jim is going to say about cremation being a better alternative to funerals. But I have a better solution. What my daughter is going to do when I die, her instructions are to drive me to Maine. We know somebody with a farm there. She's going to feed me to the pigs. Be better for the environment, and someday I'll be part of delicious barbecue. So vent cleaning is basically unclogging your dryer, and duct cleaning, which is they're done by the same companies, but that's somebody comes in and cleans the HVAC out of your home or your business. Both will keep you safe and healthy, but just as important, vent and duct cleaning leads to all kinds of metaphors for human plumbing, which leads to funny innuendo. For example, I cannot tell you how many times Jim Ruberti has called me because doctors were concerned about dust in his stool. Also, my urologist informed me that my sexual problems were the result of a high lymph count. And the last time I got an EKG, doctors found a lost sock in one of my arteries. That's
All
what
right. Jim.
That's going to be a tough one to follow, but I think I can handle it. I think I can. I'll use you to clean out the vents after the cremations, Dave. Okay? So let's talk about cremation. Now, why it should be on the list. Did you know 60% of the people who die get cremated today? Did you know when they're predicting in 10 years, 81% of the people who die are going to be cremated? And you got Ted Williams on the list who only batted 400. That's only 40%. We're talking 60, 80%. Now, we have an ad on television that comes out. It's Casper Cremation. You may have heard about it. It's $19.95 for a full cremation service. If you go to a funeral, it's $20,000. Of course, my sons say, Dad, you're so big, though, they're going to add a couple $100 more for the extra gas they're going to need to cremate you. and the other thing is, when you get buried, what if you get buried to somebody like Dave Rattigan or Paul Nardizzi? You're stuck with them in eternity, left and right of you. Cremation, you can be thrown wherever you want. Personally, I want to be dumped on Elizabeth Warren, our senator from Massachusetts. I hope that can happen.
Yeah.
But no, cremation, percentage-wise, by the way, how about the environment? You're not digging holes and putting stuff
How
in
we
the
doing
ground.
with time, Juliana?
Thumbs up.
All right.
Man.
All right, back and forth, guys.
All right, I just want to say this quick, Jim. I've met your sons, and if I had your sons, I'd be thinking of cremation too. But I once took a photo that was published in Sports Illustrated. I was very proud of it. I put it on the wall of my apartment in New York City. I moved out of New York City. I forgot, and I left it there on the wall. What if that had been my grandpa's urn on the?
Dave, I think of your classes at college when you're being a professor, and I want to hear the rattling ductwork over your voice teaching a class. I hope they're clogged with dust and soot so I could get sick to avoid going to your classrooms. First of all, not everybody has ductwork. A lot of people heat with hot water. No duct needed. Now they have air conditioning that doesn't need ductwork. In fact, I'm going to say less than 50% of the homes in this country actually have ductwork that needs to be cleaned. Therefore, shouldn't be on the list.
What about the dark side of cremation? You don't talk about that. What about all these scandals about these cremation services that don't cremate? They just stick the bodies around the yard and they just bury them. It's gross. It's criminal. And what will happen during the zombie apocalypse?
Listen, I was worried about that. When my mother died, I asked the crematorium person, it was around 4th of July. I said, I better not be getting somebody's barbecue instead of my mother when this thing is over with. That's just a small percentage, Dave.
It's just a small percent. Let me ask you this. I want to just break for a second before interrupt the argument for just one thing, Jim. If you're going to have your ashes spread, would you get them done at Fenway Park? Would you have somebody spread your ashes at Fenway Park?
Only if their record is above 500, Dave.
I'm just wondering whether or not the Sox would charge you an extra seat fee if they found out.
No, they'd be worried about somebody tripping, running between the baselines with the high soil content from my lump of ashes.
Let me tell you this. Even if you don't have ductwork, all right, what about clogged dryer vents? That's a fire hazard. If you want to save on cremation, leave the body near the dryer and don't clean the vents. The fire will take care of it.
Listen,
right,
I've lived in my house for
keep going if you
35
want
years.
it.
Are we done time
No,
wise?
you got to volley it more. Keep it going.
No. We got plenty to talk about coming up, Dave. Let's roll, man. Let's go.
I got a final one.
All right.
Oh boy.
Memorializing loved ones. I get that. You want to have the funeral or the memorial or whatever. I get that. But I think, don't you agree that people make too big a deal about what happens to the body? I mean, think about it. Some people, are we that far removed when people are going to start stuffing human beings and their family just like they stuff their pets? You can sit them around the table and you can pretend to have dinner and finally no arguments about politics.
Right. There you go. Stellar. All right. Time for the judge here. So last show, somebody actually tried to advocate for Mr. Rogers, which had no chance. I mean, I was pretty sure, though, that Mr. Rogers would have prevailed if he'd been going up against vent and duct cleaning. I mean, but, I want to be fair. So I did some research. I looked for some endorsements for vent and duct cleaning. I spoke to a couple of guys who own construction companies, and they can't even remember if they've ever had their vent and ducts cleaned. So not a great endorsement there. They told me that's actually less important than checking your smoke detectors, keeping your roof maintained, your plumbing, your electric systems, pest control, insulation. So now I'm worried about all those things, but I'm not worried about vent and duct cleaning.
Should be concerned about your friends in the construction industry who are clearly very dirty, filthy people.
They must be. But so vent and duct cleaning.
And by the way,
Must clearly be
70% of
out.
those will be cremated at the end of their career, just so you know.
But it's, what is it going up against? Cremation. Seriously. If you're cremated, that means nobody ever goes to your grave and cries. And that's really all I'm living for at this point. And yeah, you could go get yourself a nice urn, but you really have no control over that. My family would throw me in like an Evian bottle. And it's portable, okay? What are you going to do? Bring grandpa to the game with you? Here's the thing. There is a positive with this. You mentioned this, no funerals. That's a big cost saving. And funerals are a huge hassle. I hate going to funerals. But people have cremations. They also have services, which is just wrong. I mean, if you're going to save yourself the money, save everybody else the hassle. So I'm torn. It came down to this. Cremation saves land. The lack of land use for cemeteries means more land for other things like football fields. I like football, so a vote for cremation is a vote for football. Cremation wins. There you go.
Oh, sad.
All right, Juliana, what do we got for round two?
All right, round two up next. We got Jim Ruberti as the judge with Dave Rattigan arguing for the Beach Boys versus Dave Barend arguing for Childbirth.
Excellent. Who's going first?
Sir Rattigan.
All right. Excellent. Let me just start with this. Childbirth is messy, but not as messy as the private lives of the Beach Boys. The music was all. Juliana, have you heard of the Beach Boys?
I have.
Them?
Huh?
Have you ever seen them?
Oh, maybe not.
Okay. The music was all American, but the background stuff was also all American in like mental illness, tragic deaths, drug abuse, manipulation by outsiders, legal issues. Even the Manson family was involved with the Beach Boys. They're like Rupert Murdoch and his children, minus the media empire and the funny accents. Forget Endless Summer. They should have made an album called it Endless Lawsuits. And this was one of the things about the 20th century, Juliana. It was all about contradictions of 20th century celebrity. The Hollywood heartthrob who would be secretly gay, the actress who became America's sweetheart, who would do it by trips to the casting couch. It was just the solid family man who had a mistress and a drinking problem. All of these things are just part of the 20th century America. The Beach Boys, meanwhile, they were celebrating surfing. Only one of them surfed, and that was the guy who hung around with the Mansons. They weren't guys necessarily, but they were young guys, made a lot of money, and they were young guys who made a lot of money, and then they were young guys who made a lot of money, and a lot of stuff sprang from that. So,
Juliana, where are we with the time here?
let me get the last sentence in, all right?
All right.
I was just so engaged, I completely forgot. I'm so sorry.
Like, oh, I'm losing already. I think I'll interrupt him. Anyway, my point is, if that doesn't belong in the power rankings, what does?
All right. You have heard of the miracle of childbirth. No one has heard of the miracle of the Beach Boys. As wow moments go, you see something like, wow, childbirth is clearly number one. I mean, it's been said that like seeing Earth from space ranks up there. What are we going to listen to Katy Perry? No. First time for me witnessing childbirth, I passed out. Absolutely passed out. The intensity was too much, or maybe it was just the smell. I don't know. But when I came to, I'm thinking, oh my God, look what I've done. But luckily, my wife was right there to immediately say, you didn't do a damn thing. So that's nice. Second child, I was petrified. Nurse says, literally, I couldn't move. Nurse says, you want to hold the baby? I'm shaking my head no. Why? Because my wife once lost her mind on me when I dropped a crystal vase. If I dropped our kid, I'm pretty sure she would have yelled. So there's my opening salvo for childbirth over the Beach Boys, but I got more. Let's go, Dave.
All right, I'll give you this. Children are like sausages. We all want to enjoy the product, not watch the process, not hear about your trauma. Don't force people to watch your childbirth videos, or in the case of Jim Ruberti, the video of the baby's conception.
All right, with this weekend is Father's Day. Father's Day. No fathers means no kids. Why? Because fathers provide the ice chips. You can't go against childbirth on the days before Father's Day.
Yeah, of course you can. I mean, think about what you've just described. I passed out. It was so much I passed out. And I think it's so wonderful. It's like the only people who enjoy childbirth are the people like yourself who passed out and didn't do anything. All right. Your wife is right about that. Women, they go through this excruciating pain and then they have to block it out in order to have other kids because sometimes they don't have a boy in the first try.
All right, let's go back to the Beach Boys. The Beach Boys wouldn't even be in the top 25 of greatest musicians of all time. You got Elvis, the Beatles, Bob Dylan, Michael Jackson, Prince, the Rolling Stones. Let's go back even further. Sinatra, Beethoven, Mozart, Bach. I mean, come on. There's two things that all of them have in common that distinguish them from the Beach Boys. They are better, and as you kind of mentioned, they never hosted Charles Manson. You cannot possibly have the Beach Boys over Childbirth. I got more. Go ahead, Jim or Dave.
It's ludicrous. It is ludicrous to put Childbirth in the power rankings because what happens with children? You lose your money, you lose your time, you lose your sleep, you lose energy. It is kryptonite in the bedroom. Where is the power in that?
You got Pet Sounds. That's their big album for the Beach Boys, Pet Sounds. Yes. And apparently they influenced the Beatles, which is impressive. Put the Beatles on the list, not the Beach Boys. You know what influenced Pet Sounds? I'm pretty sure that 1955 hit Jingle Bells by the Singing Dogs. That influenced Pet Sounds.
All right. Pet Sounds is one of the greatest albums of all time, as you know, because otherwise it wouldn't be on your list. And I guess my question is, what child, again, kids are wonderful, but what child has ever come up with, I don't know, Barend? Huh? Surfing USA? I know they had to steal from Chuck Berry. I get that. I can go back in time too. And we know Chuck Berry stole from Marty McFly. Movie was.
All right. Apparently, Brian Wilson is considered a genius. You rattled off one of his brilliant lyrics right there. Ba 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 Barand. A lyric so nice they sang it twice. If he's such a genius, maybe he might have looked at somebody shooting up heroin and said, "You know what? I'll pass." Or someone on LSD and thought, "You know what? That might not be great."
That was the 70s. They handed us stuff and we took it. That was the way it was. Here's my thing. Childbirth is the start of life, all right? While going to the Beach Boys is a reminder of all of our mortality, all right? If you're going to see the Beach Boys, chances are that you're very old or you're a child and you're hoping that your grandpa will make it through the concert. Otherwise, you're going to need a ride home.
The Beach Boys are currently employing, wait for it, John Stamos. Because apparently they couldn't get Scott Baio. He was too busy singing about how Joni loves Chachi. Yes, there are negatives with childbirth. The number one is, of course, it leads to kids, which leads to college funds, which leads to poverty. But I'm not talking about the birth. I'm talking about two cells coming together. That's all you need. Two cells and maybe a broken condom, and you get a human body. That is a miracle. That's amazing. Jim, right. We got to throw it to you. Or yeah.
Okay. You know, believe it.
I know.
Believe it or not, Dave's still talking.
You don't care. You don't.
Well, believe it or not, I got to judge this now, Dave. And believe it or not, this is closer than you guys actually think. And I want Juliana to pay attention here. He talks about childbirth. I had 3 boys. I've spent close to $1 million on tuition. Childbirth is beautiful, but I don't think it's worth that much money. You know what I'm saying, Juliana, right?
Yep.
Now, it came down to this, honestly, guys. Great arguments, both sides. Dave, I'm going to tell you why you lost, and it's one short word. Kokomo. Worst song ever written in the history of the world, shouldn't be on a list of 10 million. and they only did it for the Tom Cruise movie, and that's the only reason you lost, Dave Barend. You didn't lose because it's beautiful and it's stinky and you pass out. You lost because of Kokomo.
Wait, I'm losing. I'm losing.
No. Dave lost.
Thank you.
Dave lost because of Kokomo. That's the only reason.
We have established that names are irrelevant on this show.
Let me give you the one word reason that I lost. Rigged.
All right, we're a little behind schedule. Let's pick it up here. Juliana, what do we got for round 3?
All right, last round we got Dave Rattigan as a judge with Dave Barend arguing for sneakers versus Jim arguing fishing.
All right, sneakers. Like the vast majority of the world at this very moment, I am wearing sneakers. I'm sporting my beloved Chuck Taylor All-Stars. Always got them in black because my mom thought the white just too flashy. Sneakers are not only, they're the most popular and the most comfortable footwear there is, hands down. More so than flip-flops, more so than sandals, which should be outlawed. Who the hell are you to force me to look at your feet? Cover them up with something decent, like a pair of Jordans. Comfortable feet are directly related to overall relaxation and stress reduction, as opposed to the lies of relaxation spread by the fishing community. Here's what every fishing trip is. Start out with an offer to leave at 4 o'clock in the morning. So 0 chance of relaxing good night's sleep. Then I sit in his boat, which makes me feel like dog turd because I don't own a boat. But don't worry, we won't sit long because he spends 90% of his time cruising around for the perfect spot that he'll never find. Then the clouds open up, the thunder gets louder, and he divulges he may not have enough gas to get back. Yeah, relaxing. Sneakers over fishing by far.
Wow, that's what you got. That's all you got.
That's my first
guess
minute.
what, people? There are so many people that hate sneakers. I want to go back to fishing. You can wear flip-flops. You don't have to wear those stupid sneakers. You can go fishing anywhere in the world. You can go fishing when you're in the mountains. You can go fishing during the wintertime, the summertime. Everything is fishing. Everything is fishing. When my wife comes home, I'm fishing for us to make love. When I go to work, I'm fishing for a raise. It's not just fishing, Dave, catching fish. It's fishing for everything. So the other thing is what did God make Friday? For you Catholics out there.
Yeah, right.
It's fish day, right? And think about every other acronym. Like the police, they cast a net to catch the criminal. Where did they get that from? Casting the net to catch the criminal. From fishing. So you go to the store, there's fish everywhere. Even people who don't like fish know what fishing is. All time's up.
All right. So what is the most prevalent item in the world? Almost nothing in the world outnumbers sneakers. Other than living things like microorganisms and trees, you got grains of sand, coins, and books by John Grisham. That's where sneakers rank.
You know what's great about fishing? You don't need sneakers to fish. That's the best part.
All right. Let me talk to the sports fans. Sneakers revolutionized sports. There's no tennis, there's no running, there's no basketball. Slippers is essentially what people wore. Boots and dress shoes. Might explain why the long-term popularity existed for the set shot. I mean, I guess one of the positives is you could go to a funeral or even dig a grave and then bam, jump right into a basketball game right then.
Well, let me tell you about sneakers. They're not all in fishing. Everything's not made in China and overpriced with a stupid hook label on it that Michael Jordan signed, okay? You can go fishing with a wooden stick and a worm and catch fish without sneakers. In fact, I'm a proponent of no sneakers. I don't want anybody wearing sneakers anymore.
If there were no stinkers, there'd be no Dr. J think of Dr. J without sneakers. Instead of dunking from the free throw line, Dr. J would have slid from the free throw line, broke both his ankles, and the world would have never recovered. No basketball without sneakers as we have it today. No basketball, that means no college basketball times. No college basketball times, no domination rankings. No domination rankings of everything. Sneakers are therefore the foundation of all that is dominant. How can they not be on the list?
How about, all right, let's do the sports analogy. Without fishing, you wouldn't have the Sharks. You wouldn't have the Marlins. You wouldn't have half the names since you can't use an Indian name anymore. Yet there goes all the fish names. You wouldn't be of the Rays. You wouldn't have the Rays. You wouldn't know what these fish were if it wasn't for fishing.
All right. Did Run DMC rap about fishing? No, they did not. They rapped about what? My Adidas walk through concert doors and roam all over Coliseum floors. My Adidas. They inspired
guess
me,
what?
a little
When
kid
they-
from Vestal, to come up with his own little rap. I wear Chucks. Man, yes, I do. That's my style. Yeah, that's my shoe. Nelly also has no fishing songs, but Juliana will tell you he sings Air Force One. Heavy D sings Nike. What does fishing have? The Andy Griffith theme song, which is just whistling. Fishing isn't even worthy of lyrics.
If Forrest Gump didn't go fishing for shrimp, he would have never got those Nikes in the movie because he couldn't have paid for them.
All right. Amongst the many activities more popular than fishing, you ready for this? Picnicking, gardening, and yard work. And nobody likes yard work. How popular can fishing be?
Sure, while they're using fish fertilizer in their garden and they're having fish sandwiches during their picnics. They'd have nothing to eat.
Why does fishing even exist? Fishing is for people who can't handle the rigors of golf.
That's and we say that about golfers because they don't know how to fish.
All right, I will give fishing slightly a little bit more credit. The sneakers have a high carbon footprint, but you got to give credit to the sneakers for being one of the few things that can say that literally.
And guess what? In the seasons, the winter, the snow, the rain, and everything, you can't wear sneakers during all of that. But guess what you can do? You can fish.
All right, have you tried to watch fishing? Dear Lord, I'd rather watch vents and ducts being cleaned. I mean, how is vent and duct cleaning not in the top 25? That's a travesty.
All right, can we go to the judging now?
All right, one more point. One more quick point. Sneakers is more than just sneakers. It's a movie with possibly the greatest cast of all time. Robert Redford, Sidney Poitier, River Phoenix, Dan Aykroyd, Ben Kingsley, Mary McDonnell. And who was Hollywood able to attract for the one and only film entitled Fishing? Somebody named Coco the Clown. All right.
I have a rebuttal.
All right, go
The
ahead.
perfect storm, Dave. Perfect storm. He forgets about that.
It wasn't called fishing. All right, go ahead.
All right. You're ready for my judgment?
Yeah.
All right. First, the one thing I want to say is that I have been looking forward to you two making intelligent, interesting points. Still waiting. Two is, Dave, your arguments for and against is delivered exactly the same way. It's like there's a storm, you're up waking up early, your day is ruined, I reach for the placenta, I pass out, and then I don't know if you're going to say it's great or it's terrible. So number three is to me, Juliana, I know you're into crypto. My point is, I'm broke, too expensive. All right. So my idea is better than this. I'm going to releasing a new NFT with just pictures of sneakers. I'm going to sell them for $200. I'm going to make a fortune, and think of the closet space you'll save.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody mentioned other space. Jim, on the other hand, he couple things. He mentioned fishing words in sports, and somehow he missed the one that describes the Red Sox season, flounder.
Ah,
Oh, very good. Very good.
And your thing about fishing equipment being made in the U.S. and being less expensive, both of those, they're good points. But more than that, when I think of fishing, I think of that slick, slimy, gross feel and that horrible smell, which means I miss you, Jim. And finally, my decision is this, Dave. I'm just like every judge you've ever argued about. My decision was made long ago, and I'm going to go with fishing.
all right. That's all right. That's sad, but that's okay. All right. That brings us to our top 25. We are going to read off the top 25, and the bottom three, correct me if I'm wrong on this, Juliana, are the ones that are getting cut, right?
Right.
All right. That was a lot of enthusiasm there. All right. So, all right. Juliana is psyched to be here. All right, so Juliana, this is your new moment to shine. You get to read off the top 25. And 25, 24, and 23 are getting cut and replaced by our new entries. Hit it, Juliana.
All right. Been waiting for this. Okay, 25, we have Canada. 24, the Pope. 23, Alabama Crimson Tide women's wheelchair basketball team.
Our only connection to college basketball sadly drops out. But they did unquestionably put the roll in Roll Tide.
There we
Oh
go.
boy.
22, we have Premier League soccer. And 21 is Penn State. But unfortunately, I'm just kidding. It's actually the domination rankings. Almost made the top 20, guys. Almost there. 20, though, is Ted Williams. 19's Pasta. 18.
And I have that should be
Yeah, go
top
ahead.
5.
18.
We know that. So
Yeah.
Anyways, 18 in New York City. 17 Jeep. And 16 Rome. 15 Star Wars. 14 jeans. 13 sandwiches. 12 summertime. 11 air conditioning. Although I don't know how that's next to summertime because don't they just cancel each other out? Yes.
yeah.
I'm just the intern. I don't know much. But I do know that 10 is money and 9 is Jesus. 18 is Elvis.
Wait. I think Dave wanted to jump.
My objection with Jesus on the power rankings. Here's my objection is his face on plates. All right. The first commandment from Exodus 20, quote, I am the Lord thy God. Don't worship others, even the good guys. Just worship God. Superman is fine. We don't really need the Justice League. And since we don't know what God looks like, the correct thing to do would be just look at the blank plate, think about the food on it, and be grateful. And that's
All right. Got it. Moving on.
Thank God.
Okay, 8 Elvis. I think that's
Yeah.
our numbers. 7 is The Simpsons. 6 sex. 5 a good bowel movement.
Yeah.
4 TV. 3 making people laugh.
Oh, this is another one. It's completely overrated. Look at today. Look at today. We haven't said one funny thing. We haven't. Right? I was concerned that this would be like one of those podcasts, Juliana, where like everyone was like funny, but instead we've had deep intellectual conversations about sneakers.
Yes.
God forbid.
Wait, Jim, I think that was a compliment to both of us.
I actually thought the same thing. Dave.
Hey,
Thank
there you go.
Thanks.
All right, after that, we got number 2 is pizza, and number 1 is sleep.
Sleep. Wow. I was actually holding out hope for Penn State for you there, Juliana.
I think
It's all
most
right.
of the audience for this podcast would agree sleep was number 1. That's what I'm
You
gonna
know,
say.
to me, sleep being number 1 ahead of pizza makes sense only if you're dreaming of pizza. But there you have it. Are we good to go?
Good. Thanks for having us.
Jim, did you
Thanks
want to
for
jump
having
in
us.
there?
Thanks for having us, everybody. That was great.
I had a hunch that Jim wanted to say something extra.
I did want to say something about pasta being
Okay.
below sex. And
Okay.
this is really important to me. Okay. First of all, I'm 34 years old. I mean, I'm married 34 years. I'm overweight. And right now, sex isn't even in the top 9. Pasta's in like the top 3 for many reasons.
All right.
Pasta, you don't have to, there's no foreplay with pasta. There's it doesn't have a headache. You don't have to talk to it after you eat it. I've never gotten an STD from pasta either, which is very important. And it's so crazy that it's so far down the list. Everybody eats pasta, everybody loves pasta. And not only that, you can have pasta the next day and the next day and the next day. Not like sex. Like Dave used to say, once you've been once, you guys can get a hobby. It'll take 4 days before we bother you again. It's just not even close anymore. And Juliana, you'll figure this out when you get older at our age. Food, as you see, pizza's near the top now, and pasta's near the top. Sleep is near. You can tell old people, Juliana, made this list. And
a good bowel movement.
And if Beach Boys get on there, that would confirm it was old people making the list. But yeah, pasta's way up on the list for a myriad of reasons.
All right, maybe we have to move pasta up. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I don't think this sucked at all. So, all right.
Oh, this is great.
And you'll
Juliana, thanks for your
you'll
patience
it
and
after
good
you
luck
watch
at Penn
the tape.
State.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Call it, Juliana.